Hey everyone, thanks for joining. We'll be getting started in a few minutes. Thanks again. We'll start around 11:01 a.m. Pacific time. Thanks once again for joining. We'll be getting started in around 2 minutes. So around 2 minutes or so, we'll be getting started. If you need to grab a cup of coffee, get anything to drink, now's the time to do that. And of course, any questions, anything you want us to go over, feel free to leave that on the right-hand side of this webinar. All right, everyone, thanks so much for joining. We'll go ahead and kick off our webinar. So really excited to announce our partnership and integration with the Skubana team. We've got Chad here, CEO of Skubana. We're going to talk about a lot of different things when we go into the fulfillment strategies for multi-channel sales. We'll talk about Amazon. We'll talk about Walmart. We'll talk about eBay. We'll talk about any channel you'd like. We'll also have Q&A at the end, so feel free, absolutely ask questions as we're talking. If there's something that you'd like to get more clarification on, or something around, questions around Deliverr, Skubana, or how things interact, how the systems work together, I'm really happy to answer any of those questions, get them out of the way with. So without further ado, I would like to hand this off to Chad, and he will kick it off talking about Skubana, who have some really interesting metrics also around fast shipping and how it impacts some of the different marketplaces.
Yeah, thanks for that intro. I'm super excited to be partnering with you guys on this webinar today, and thanks everyone for joining and taking time out of their valuable day to spend time with us. For me, it's all about dropping value in nuggets. I've been in e-commerce for about 10 years. I'm like a first generation multi-channel seller. I have a brand called THINKCRUCIAL. We started selling vacuum filters and coffee filters across every single marketplace and every channel and every shopping cart a long time ago. We sell on Amazon, Walmart, eBay, Sears, Rakuten, Jet, you name it, we're on it, Home Depot. And then out of my pain, I started Skubana to run and automate your entire business all with one singular platform without using disparate solutions. So we have an app store, and Deliverr just joined our app store. I'm super excited to have them in our app store and to enable our merchants to essentially deliver, no pun intended, a tremendous amount of e-commerce success. So today we're going to talk about some fulfillment strategies, some things I'm seeing in the marketplace, and like Michael, like if you want to chime in, if you want to freestyle, I'd love to make that happen. I certainly welcome and I'm open to your feedback. One of the things is we're going to be giving away a giveaway in the middle of the presentation, so just stay tuned for that. In the meantime, Skubana, like I mentioned, is an operational platform to run and automate your business. It's unified and essentially does everything from orders to inventory to purchase orders and to profit. So you can see your profit per SKU per channel, including your shipping fees, along with an app store. It's super easy to get started, to expand to multiple channels, and is really focused on complexities of your business. We have some of the largest Shopify Plus brands on our platform. We have some of the largest Amazon and Walmart or eBay merchants on our platform. And here's just a couple of them. And then we're 5 stars across the board online. Awesome. So, I mean, right now, I think shipping with that E in commerce is table stakes. And I think it's right now, at least, it's changing to actually, you can't just have one warehouse to survive in e-commerce. That's my point of view. And so, and it's driven basically because Amazon's driving this. Amazon's really driving it, and I think Walmart also just recently launched it, which is why Deliverr really exists, and they're enabling this. But essentially, customers are driving the same-day shipping. They want to be able to download their packages. And so, I mean, we started at Crucial offering free shipping really about, I want to say like 8 years ago. And now we're like, okay, how do we deliver faster? How do we position our inventory around the United States to sort of offer 2-day shipping without paying the 2-day shipping price? So I think this slide just goes back to the fact I think that you need to have more than one warehouse. Like right now, I have an East Coast warehouse, and I believe that you need to be in different warehouses to survive, especially as being off Amazon as I am, right? I'm not just dependent on Amazon. I'm capitalizing on the monopoly space of Walmart, Home Depot, and certainly my own shopping cart, which is largely driven by Google. So most people aren't offering same-day delivery, and if you're doing what everyone else is doing, that's not the way to win, especially in e-commerce. And so this webinar is really just to open your eyes to like what's possible, what's out there, and sort of other tactics that maybe your competitors aren't employing right now. Michael, did I miss anything? Is there anything you want to add before I keep rocking and rolling?
There was one piece there that I thought was really interesting where you said, I'm capitalizing on monopoly of space on Walmart and Home Depot and some of the other marketplaces. And we actually are going to specifically talk about that point where we talk about some of the competition and the competitive landscape on some of these other marketplaces. I think that is a huge component when you do think about, the multi-channel opportunity. Obviously, in terms of a sheer buyer pool, no one will compete with Amazon right now, at least for the next year. But when you look at the competitive landscape, Amazon is highly competitive. And so for certain verticals and certain items, it can be difficult to stand out. And that is one of the big advantages that multi-channel does bring, the ability to get into a niche and, maybe not going out to as many buyers as what you would see with Amazon, but in a much less competitive landscape where it's easier to stand out.
Yeah, for sure. And one nugget I would say is that if, let's just say 80% of searches are happening on Google right now, Amazon does rank on Google organically, but if you're looking at the ad space, Amazon does not pay for product listing ads, the PLA ads, but Walmart does. So it's one other way to, and eBay, right, exactly.
Yeah,
so it's one other way to get a tremendous amount of reach. And these companies are literally paying to get you that reach.
Yeah, you definitely see also a huge component around that I've just noticed, because since I view all of our a bunch of our listings on on Walmart that Deliverr's fulfilling, I get retargeted with the ads all the time from Walmart, and it's really unique, especially on Facebook. All their ads emphasize free 2-day shipping on the items that we have, which I thought was really interesting how they kind of put it in text. So they're doing some really creative things around their ad strategy when you look at like Facebook and Google.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, half the battle is driving traffic and getting that click-through rate, and then obviously driving the conversion on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the things for me that I've been impacted by recently, and I think it speaks to this slide, is that we have been traditionally, we've been always shipping, our product is under 1 pound. So we ship using first class or one of the last mile carriers. And now that USPS has went dimensional, or I call it zonal, it's essentially, it used to be that if you were shipping from Delaware to New York, the same price from Delaware to California, and it's changed, right? So, and that's partly driving the reason why you need to have multiple different warehouses.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So let's carry on here. There's a lot of different ways to fulfill in e-commerce. This is just the basics. I think when you look at just Amazon specifically, it's FBA. Like if you're drop shipping or you're shipping merchant fulfilled on Amazon, they're not going to give you as much exposure. I would actually love to hear from you real quick. Does Walmart get in their algorithm for ranking, or even eBay, can you drive more traffic to your listings if you're offering 2-day in the algorithm?
I mean, yeah. So it's we even with when we do webinars with the Walmart team, they mention improved search ranking. What's really interesting, you're starting to see this clustering effect among sellers on Walmart, where you have one seller goes, and let's say we had a interesting thing. We had a seller selling ashwagandha. It's some like type of supplement. So first seller goes, sells ashwagandha, and it's a pretty high volume keyword on Walmart, which was interesting. They add 2-day shipping on it. They go to the top of search. Then another seller who was at the top of search now is, either moves to the right or moves down one, because Walmart search kind of goes horizontal and then vertical. And then they come in, they use Deliverr, they put their items on 2-day. And then the seller who moved down even further, then they put their item on 2-day. So you see this clustering effect where you see now when you search ashwagandha, like almost all the third-party sellers on 2-day delivery are on Deliverr. I think it's really unique. I think that's probably something, my guess is, like when FBA was rolling out with Prime, some of the things that they saw early on, most likely 2008, 2009, 2010, as Prime kind of expanded. So there's definitely an impact on search, and it drives seller behavior quite a bit. So for certain sellers, once you're on 2-day, you do get a pretty big boost. Something really interesting, we had a seller selling Skechers, and if you look at Skechers on Walmart, there's very few items on 2-day. And what we saw was they had run out of inventory, and they were now run out of inventory across all locations. So they just had a few pieces left, and so they weren't showing national 2-day coverage. They're at the bottom of page 2, and once we replenished, right away we activated national 2-day coverage. They went to the top of page 1 on literally just searching Skechers. Not even Skechers shoes, just Skechers. They went entire top row, 2-day delivery on their item. So it's definitely indexed quite a bit in search, similar to how you can, how Prime would be indexed in Amazon. eBay, fast and free guaranteed. It's definitely indexed in search there. They actually increased the sensitivity a few weeks ago, which is interesting as well. So we're seeing definitely a bigger impact on sales for having fast and free guaranteed, for the past 3 or 4 weeks than we have before that. So that's something that's been interesting as well.
Cool. So FBA for me, it's table stakes, I think, at this point. I think it'll happen for Walmart too, and for eBay. I think it'll become table stakes. Certainly once it becomes table stakes and everyone's doing FBA or doing 2-day shipping, then it moves into, hey, how can we monetize this with a PPC component, which Amazon's doing with sponsored ads for sure. I don't want to bore people with like all the other things that are happening, but I mean, it's just a beautiful thing once you can enable that, and especially offload a lot of that fulfillment to somebody else like Amazon or to Deliverr, right? I think it's super important. I mean, a few things to just consider is like, I think a lot of times the money shot is actually sending the product to Deliverr, like knowing what to send to Deliverr to do the fulfillment and knowing what to send to FBA for fulfillment. With Skubana specifically as it relates to Amazon, because it's so Amazon. I mean, we have a lot of Amazon centricities in our platform just because it was built out of my own pain, and then we started offering and commercialize it to a lot of other people. But I say one of the things you need to make sure is like the money shot is always making sure you have the right amount of inventory, not just based on velocity, but based on profitability that's sitting at the fulfillment warehouse. Amazon has a lot of hidden fees. I know that I know Deliverr has a lot of transparency when it comes to this, but Amazon has a tremendous amount of fees: your pick fee, your pack fee, your storage fee, your return fee, your commission fee, your PPC fee. They're really good at showing you what you make, but they're really bad at showing you what you keep. And so one of the things we do at Skubana is we have this profitability report that is untouchable, which essentially, because we essentially take all your data and put it into one platform, you now have that kind of granularity where you can, with precision, see every single fee, whether you're shipping out of your own warehouse, your 3PL, or on FBA. Anything to run on here, Michael? Anything you see stand out?
I mean, that's critical in terms of understanding total costs, for any type of seller. And, one of the biggest things, pricing changes based on the marketplace you're selling on. eBay has a completely different fee structure. They have like the final value fee, then you have a listing fee. And so that's really important, understanding total cost. You definitely, the statement that you made, like a lot of times they show you what you make, but you don't entirely know how much you're keeping. I think that definitely makes a lot of sense. And we've seen it a lot with like seller filled prime. Merchants were mentioning, hey, they do SFP, and then, didn't entirely understand, true costs associated with running SFP through a single warehouse. I talked to a merchant who doing tens of millions of dollars a year on Amazon. A lot of it's going through seller filled prime out of one location, and that's pretty costly. It kind of adds up. So
totally. That's why
that visibility and cost is important.
More of a reason to actually have multi-warehouse functionality for sure, and routing rules that can actually decide on logic where to ship items out of that's going to be the lowest price.
I think also just visibility into what your costs are, understanding the cost model. If you're in an FBA fixed unit cost model, it's easier, right? Where, through something like Skubana, exactly what your costs are, based on what you have here. And then in Deliverr model, it works too. If you're shipping it yourself, it can get tricky based on, depends on the method and what carrier you're using. But, obviously all this is critical, and understanding exactly what the take rate is across different marketplaces, how their commission fees work. And then on top of that, the advertising spend.
Yep. One of the things I'm seeing Amazon testing right now is FBA onsite, which is kind of an evolution of SFP, seller fulfilled prime. But essentially what it's doing is it's not letting the merchant use Amazon's rate card. So you get to use Amazon's rate card for the first time versus using your own rate card when you're doing SFP. So I just think that's a very interesting direction that they're going into.
Yeah, well, I think they've had both programs available for quite some time. They probably have onsite for 2 years, and probably SFP for a few years as well. But it's definitely a more, I would say, controlled version of SFP for Amazon, in that they have more control over what's going on. I think they even implement like a WMS at the warehouse location, so they have complete visibility. I think though, from a warehousing standpoint, that warehouse almost becomes solely purposed for Amazon. Kind of when you run on site, or it might be difficult to do non-Amazon orders. I don't know what your experience has been on that.
We have a customer too. We have a few on onsite, and essentially what they do is they like cage off inventory specific around Amazon inventory. And the other thing I was just talking about is like knowing what to send to Amazon in advance, like because Amazon has so many fees now, especially these short-term, even the inventory storage fees at Amazon are now on a rolling basis. It used to be that they were assessed on every 6 months, and now since they're rolling, it's very, very important that your inventory just doesn't become a liability there, that it's actually an asset that's selling and creating cash for your business. So just one of the things that we offer is we actually have FBA right through our platform. You can send directly to Amazon. And then we, of course, have merchants that are doing in-house, which a lot of times will, at least if you're doing in-house, you probably get to capitalize on your own, maybe especially if you're under a pound, less than expensive rates. I've moved away from the in-house model. I moved to a 3PL model, which I'm sure you can appreciate. I mean, this is what you guys are doing on a daily basis, is doing the fulfillment for others and taking out the pain of actually doing it, and also having that ability to go 2-day shipping for customers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This was just a fun slide I added. I just wanted to share with people that are on the call today, is like, because I've been selling across all these different places, obviously I've got my own tech stack that I've implemented. And so I just wanted to share some of the tools that I'm using across each department of my business. I can speak to a couple. One of the ones I think is a game changer for a lot of e-commerce merchants has been Basecamp, which allows me to form teams, like team-specific project management structures. And since a lot of my team has been outsourced, I essentially have these daily check-ins that I've created through Basecamp. Anyway, it's just a great tool that I'm using on a daily basis. I'm on Shopify, I'm on all the channels, but this is a great stack that people can look at and just to stay informed. So drop shipping, I'm not going to go into it as much. I think it's becoming a lot less relevant. It's a very low margin business. It's just a strategy that you can be implementing, but like, I think directionally where things are going, at least in the e-commerce world, is brands are creating a more one-to-one relationship with the consumer. And so what you have is these brands, you've got legacy brands. There's this bifurcation that's happened where you have the digitally native brands that are born online and selling direct to consumer that have a very strong presence with the customer. And then you have these legacy incumbent brands that are trying to figure out how to sell direct consumer. And these drop shippers are starting to kind of wither away over time, just because there's not enough margin in the opportunity, and they're getting sort of shut down by the brands. Brands are really trying to take control of their assets, their trademarks, and their products and their supply chain. And then 3PLs, like I mentioned, I'm in a 3PL environment. I was probably one of the first to move into a 3PL environment, and I'm constantly reassessing how I'm selling and fulfilling in e-commerce. Right now, I only have one warehouse, and I'm looking into multi-warehouse functionality, and I would love to hear I'm excited to hear your part, Michael, of how you guys enable multi-warehouse functionality and drive costs down to enable 2-day shipping and even 1-day shipping to the customers.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that quite a bit.
Cool. So I'll save that. Yeah, these are just things to know, and I think most importantly, if you guys want to speak, we're offering a brand audit, an operational audit. So if you want to understand maybe the supply chain that we're doing right now and how we're setting up our brand to be positioned for the future of commerce, you can apply to that bit.ly link right on the screen. And I look forward to hearing from people. And I think I'm going to pass this one over to you. I think you're up.
Yeah. One thing to think about, I think, when you look at Skubana and some of the other integration options that we offer at Deliverr, one unique thing they have is inventory forecasting component. And so when we're going to talk through Deliverr, I mean, one of the really interesting components, when you have these fast shipping programs, inventory moves 2, 3, 4 times faster than what you previously expect. And so one of the big advantages of Skubana is that it does help you understand, okay, in terms of reordering, getting that on track and getting that consistent. And what we've noticed, and we'll talk through, some of the top Walmart sellers we've seen, and then some of the ones who are good but not great. A big thing that actually differentiates them is how quickly they can replenish, and that's something that Skubana helps tremendously with. So, if you have questions around that, let us know.
Totally. I mean, I just tell you, I'm completely outsourced. I have one employee in America right now. Everything else is outsourced.
Yeah.
And I would say one of the ways that we've been able to do that is with Skubana, right? We have a 24/7 employee. We call it Skubana, and it's automated purchase orders based on how many you have in stock, how many you have on order, what you've been selling across the different channels, and seasonality. So pretty amazing, and it creates a PO with a bow on top awaiting your approval. So pretty cool. And if you're interested, just come check us out.
That's honestly a lot of the stuff that like Amazon does internally for 1P stuff. A lot of it's just automated. They run purchase orders, they run it into FBA, and it's just kind of a machine that grows from there, right?
Totally.
So yeah, so we'll go into fast shipping. We'll go into the 3 top programs. We'll talk about Amazon, we'll talk about Walmart, and then eBay. Of course, if you guys have questions, leave them on the right-hand side, and we're happy to talk about that. What is Deliverr? I would say it's definitely different from kind of like what a traditional 3PL is. And it's a little bit different from FBA. We're kind of in between kind of the 2 different segments. At a high level, Deliverr is an FBA-like fulfillment alternative for Walmart, eBay, Shopify, Amazon, really anywhere you sell online. And what do we mean by like FBA-like? What does that really mean? There's really 3 things. When we looked at FBA and we said, okay, what are the kind of the key benefits you get with FBA? And then when we looked at Deliverr, kind of what would be that set of benefits? Number 1 is understanding what your pricing looks like. So pricing in a structure that's really simple. There's 2 fees, fulfillment and storage. There are inbound rates if you want to ship on our rates, or you can ship on your own rates. So that's kind of up to you. And then any other rates, if you really wanted to see like any other cost, if you wanted to remove inventory, you wanted to destroy inventory, anything like that, you can see that on our help center. There should be no hidden or unknown fees whatsoever. So that pricing structure helps you understand, when Chad was going through, okay, this is what my costs look like for Amazon. You have the take rate, then you have the FBA fulfillment fee, then you have order fee. It should be very simple in understanding exactly what your cost structure looks like when you get into Deliverr. So we want you to know, are you making money or are you losing money day 1? So we have a cost calculator online. We also have cost previews in the Deliverr seller portal. So you can see your cost for everything. And it's in that same, very similar structure to FBA, where it's a fixed rate cost. So regardless of where you're shipping to, you pay the same rate. Second piece is access to fast shipping tags. And this, I would say, is the biggest overwhelming reason why sellers come in for Deliverr, is because, for example, we'll talk about like with Walmart, it's more than a double in sales. And that's average across all of our sellers. Looking at orders per day when they have the tag versus not having the tag. What's the big kicker behind FBA? When you use FBA, your items become Prime eligible. When you use Deliverr, they become eligible not just on Walmart free 2-day shipping, but eBay fast and free guarantee. Also, if you're SFP enabled, we do integrate into that as well. So we could do Amazon SFP. And we're going to be adding, can't talk about it yet, but one really big new fast shipping program, Chad knows, next month, that we're really excited about, and we're beta testing it with a few merchants. And the last piece is hassle-free. Everything's super easy. So there's no long-term contracts, no minimums. Use as much or as little as you like. And so we're under the impression that you might come in small in Walmart. We've seen them grow, and we think from a seller perspective, whether you're huge or you're small, I think you have an equal opportunity, and we want to give you that equal opportunity to go out and sell as much as possible. Especially when you look at these newer marketplaces like a Walmart, where there's really so much opportunity there. And not necessarily, if you're not the top seller on Amazon, that doesn't necessarily mean that you won't be the top on Walmart. And then talking about Prime-like badging, these are the 3 main ones we have today. So on the far left, you have Walmart free 2-day shipping. We'll talk a little bit of that more in depth. Then you have Amazon Prime, and then eBay fast and free. So going into Walmart free 2-day shipping, this is Walmart's essentially, like Prime competitor program. This was announced a few years ago, and then actually last month they announced next day delivery. And so these fast tags on your listings are going to show up across search. They're going to show up on the item details page, and they'll even show up in terms of buy box prominence. So if you match on price and you have 2-day shipping, buy box would tilt to you. There are certain cases even where you can lose on price. And if you have the free 2-day shipping badge, I have seen it flip. That delta in price, though, definitely does vary based on the category and vertical. And so kind of what are the benefits of free 2-day shipping? Across that, I've seen around a 2.56x lift in orders per day, pre-badge versus post-badge. This is segmented averaged across all verticals. Certain verticals fall quite above that. So when you look at beauty, electronics, toys, you're going to sit above that 2.56 x range. But then when you're looking at apparel, you're looking at like iPhone cases, essentially listings with a lot of variance. The impact of a 2-day badge on your SKU in terms of orders per day isn't going to be as great as 2x. So if you have questions around that, questions around lift, questions about how it impacts on search, happy to talk through that. We've seen a million different scenarios. We've seen a lot of really interesting things across 2-day shipping, since we are the exclusive provider across Walmart Marketplace for their two-day shipping program.
I do have a quick question, Michael.
Yeah.
So if you're me
Yeah.
and you've got a pretty large business, substantial already, I have about, let's just say it's 1,000 SKUs, all of my own brand. Like, would I send you guys all SKUs and test out all of it, or would I look at my highest velocity SKUs? Like, what? I'm sure there's other large brands that are on the phone that are on the call. So
it's an interesting question and something that we get a good amount of time, and also it kind of varies too, because it depends on the SKU and it depends on the search term that you're going for. We have seen it where a seller puts it on their top SKU that's doing like 100 orders per day. They put it on 2-day. But the impact won't be 2.56x, depending on if it's already at the top of search. Essentially, the metric that you're changing then is just conversion on the listing itself, right? You're not impacting search rank. You're just impacting page view to purchase. So, you would definitely get a boost in sales, but in terms of the 2.56, not as much. So you would want to model that into your change in cost structure. But then there's other items where, let's say you think it's a very high volume keyword on Walmart and you're at the bottom of search, you could add that on 2-day, right? And then you'd get the search boost and the conversion impact. So I think it comes down to looking at your catalog and running through that analysis. So I wouldn't necessarily put it just on the top moving items. I would put it on a few items where you're like, hey, this is a new item. It's going after a really high velocity keyword that doesn't have a lot of 2-day coverage. And I think we can get a lot of bang for our buck. And we'll actually talk about a seller who did that. And that could be another strategy as well. But I wouldn't recommend putting your entire catalog on it right away, especially if you have like, 5,000-10,000 SKUs, because you want to understand cost implications right away. So I would do it in pieces and think through, okay, what are some of the items that make the most sense based on a few of the criteria I mentioned? Yeah. So now I actually want to lean on chat a little bit. We're going to talk about Amazon Prime a bit. So I asked this on a lot of the webinars in terms of what you've seen in terms of order volume per day difference, Prime versus not having the Prime badge. What I've heard so far, it seems pretty consistent, around 3 to 4x difference in sales. But I'd love to hear some of your feedback having the Prime badge versus not having the Prime badge on Amazon today.
From what I understand, you're looking at anywhere from a 40 to 60% lift, because it's the algorithm that's driving. Like, if you're typically, Prime is probably the hottest spot that people search based on. Like, I know my wife, right? Her buying behavior is, if it's not Prime, I'm not buying it. So we actually subscribe to at least at Crucial, and our customers. I mean, everyone's very focused on FBA or being Prime eligible for the mere fact of, like, Amazon prioritized that in the search rank.
Yeah. And I think that was something that, when you look at fast shipping programs, probably Prime's kind of sits at the top in terms of one of those programs that is just so heavily indexed on search, really heavily indexed on the buy box, but there's just so much adoption of it, where you have that network effect where buyers can essentially say, if it doesn't have Prime, I'm not going to buy it. And, similar, you have 100 million items on Amazon Prime, 2 million items or 3 million now on Walmart free 2-day shipping, according to, Marketplace Pulse. So there's quite a bit of competition, but I think when you look at Amazon Prime, what a lot of sellers were asking us was saying, hey, I already have your inventory in Deliverr for Walmart and eBay. Why do I get stuck having to fulfill Amazon standard orders? Because all that great impact that I get with Deliverr on my search boost and product improvements for Walmart and eBay, I can't get that for Amazon. And so we worked around 3 months on building an integration into the SFP program, where now if you're already opted into SFP, you can enable your items on Prime coverage. And this would be nationwide Prime coverage at a fixed rate. And so what's interesting is that, before, when I was talking to sellers and they were running SFP out of their own warehouse or through another 3PL, they were based on, what the carrier rates were. And a lot of sellers, it's very difficult to abstract that away and understand what is your true cost of selling an item. Because it would vary based on the carrier, zones it's going across, service level, and you might have to expedite a lot of service levels to get meet the delivery SLA that Amazon asks, and so we abstracted all that away and we said one rate, super easy. We automatically create rate tables in your account, so you just click a few buttons and it's up and running. So it works almost identical to how Walmart 2-day would work or eBay Fast and Free works, And then on the same pool of inventory, you can enable Amazon Prime with Walmart 2-day and eBay Fast and Free Guaranteed. So that's kind of what we've built with Amazon Prime. We're super pumped about it. We did have quite a few sellers who are stuck on the SFP waitlist. We're hoping, the waitlist does lift soon, but right now, only the sellers who can get into the program who are the ones who are already opted into SFP by Amazon. So then going into the last fast shipping program we'll talk about, and something that doesn't get as much attention, but it's definitely interesting. It's a little bit, it's almost like a dark horse the past month, because it's been slowly growing. We've noticed across all Deliverr sellers. As we've noticed also a few things also that have changed with this badge. Initially, when eBay launched this was called eBay Guaranteed Delivery. And you had two different badges. You had a fast and free badge, and then you had a guaranteed delivery badge, and they were independent on listings. And the fast and free badge would like automatically apply, but then the guaranteed delivery badge was like something you had to opt into. It was really confusing, and search was not really clear in terms of which one was it preferring. Some sellers were like, oh, I just want to do fast and free, not guaranteed delivery. So anyway, the eBay team completely consolidated everything, and they said, okay, it's just going to be fast and free guaranteed by. If you offer free shipping and a guaranteed delivery date, you get the fast and free badge. It defaults to 4-day shipping or faster. Search filters default to 3-day or faster. And so it's this really huge green badge you get on your listing. It's really nice. You get the impact on search. You get the impact. Also, eBay is kind of launching and has launched kind of a lightweight version of a buy box for their structured data initiative. If you have questions around that, I'm happy to talk through it a little bit more. Where you do get this priority treatment with fast and free and guaranteed buy. And so that's another program that you get access to. Again, a lot of sellers coming in, when they come in for Walmart or they come in for Amazon Prime, they're like, okay, why not just move my eBay inventory over or my eBay orders over, and I can enable it on fast and free guaranteed. It can't hurt. Certain items have doubled in sales on this program. I've seen a seller, the art supply item, the seller actually was offered for $36 with standard shipping. And then they, the next month, they activated it on Deliverr, put it on fast and free guaranteed buy, and they increased the price from $36 to $39.95. But then they added a tag to it and it doubled sales, which I thought was pretty interesting, kind of talking about how eBay's search algorithms work. eBay is an incredibly competitive marketplace. There's so many different listings out there. There's not too much listing consolidation. And so when you see that, you want to do anything possible to stand out in search. And so, this is something that can help. It won't always help depending on the search term you're going for, but in a search term like for this item where they weren't competing against other items that had the fast and free guaranteed buy badge, it helped them float to the top, really impacted sales. Across all sellers, we see around a 10% lift. Abstracted away. Obviously, certain items, it varies. I would say it's definitely a little bit more volatile from some of the other fast shipping programs that we talked about. I mean, Prime's pretty consistent. Walmart 2-day is pretty consistent in terms of revenue growth. This one's definitely more volatile, but definitely something you want to try, especially if you're already trying Deliverr for the other two channels. I don't know, Chad, are you doing fast and free guaranteed for Crucial Vacuum?
No, we're not.
Okay, so that's an interesting one to try out. I think it is modeled similar to SFP. It's a little bit easier than SFP. And then, we'll talk about now after that going into, why fast shipping tags equal conversions and some of the strategies we've seen. Because we talked about that in kind of Chad's slides. We were talking about some of the strategies. And one of the piece that I want to kind of go back into, he mentioned, going multi-channel, it gives you a monopoly on less competitive spaces. And so recently posted an article called the 14-to-1 rule. And what this is essentially we looked at Amazon, we looked at our seller base, because we have quite a few Walmart sellers at this point, and a lot of them have 2-day, and we're across a lot of different verticals. And we looked at our sellers and basically said, okay, what's kind of differentiating the top sellers from some of the not top sellers? What are the strategies that we've seen really work well, and what are the strategies that we haven't? We have top 500 Amazon sellers who've gone to Walmart, and it's not successful. And then we've had sellers who make only 200K on Amazon a year, and they come onto Walmart and they absolutely blow it out of the water, and they're one of our top 20 sellers. So we were like, okay, it's not always if you're great on Amazon you'll be great on Walmart, or if you're terrible on Amazon you'll be terrible on Walmart. It definitely varies, and it depends on the products you're selling. And what would do really well on Amazon isn't always the case in terms of what will do well on Walmart. And we thought through some of the reasons, and this is kind of what came to mind. Number one was Walmart only has around 14% of the buyer pool that Amazon has. We looked at page traffic, we looked at a few different metrics in terms of GMV when you look at their 10Ks and all those types of things, came out roughly around 14% of Amazon's overall GMV. So if you were to take, the same products that you have on Amazon, you put them on Walmart, rule of thumb, you can expect, around 14% at scale. However, what's interesting though, is that Walmart only has 1% of the competition of Amazon. This in two different respects. Number one is that there's only around 23,000 sellers on Walmart.com. This was something pointed out by Marketplace Pulse. And then they also mentioned, like I mentioned earlier, there's 2 million items on free two-day shipping on Walmart.com. There's 100 million items on Prime on Amazon. And essentially what this means is that you want to go after high volume keywords with low competition. So this was a seller who came in. It's a smaller seller on Amazon, but he came into Walmart and he basically, he sells Oral-B replacement toothbrush heads. An item that would be incredibly difficult to sell on Amazon when you look at the competition for that keyword. Also, you look at Amazon's 1P coverage, which is really aggressive, especially for these high volume keywords. It would be extremely difficult for them to compete on this. And so what he did on Walmart, though, you can see across the different sellers, none of the other items had 2-day shipping. So he added his items on 2-day, got to the top of search on a very high velocity keyword, and you see a 300% improvement in sales right off the bat. So this lends an idea, and we actually walk through in the article. So we have this blog article called 14 to 1, where we walk through some top sellers on Amazon that we think will do really well on Walmart. And the idea around sourcing name brands for Walmart that you don't think are in the 1P and 2-day selection. And there's a lot. So we searched Method Soap on Walmart.com. Not a single Method Soap items on 2-day shipping on Walmart today. We looked at Axe shampoo. Not a single item. Not a single Axe shampoo item was on 2-day shipping on Walmart when we looked at it in the article. We also noticed it only had 3 Axe shampoo SKUs, Axe shampoo listings available in total. And we really expanded this out where we found a lot of items. Skechers, I mentioned before, we had the first Skechers seller come in with 2-day shipping for Deliverr. We've had there's so many different opportunities when you look at Walmart. It's almost like, when you think about like Amazon, like several, 5-10 years ago when they were just building up selection, they were just building up Prime. And it presented so many opportunities. You saw like e-tails explode growth, Crucial Vacuum you mentioned, kind of grew in those early stages. And it presents a lot of opportunity here. So that's kind of the 14 to 1 rule. That's something that Red Fox Retail did quite a bit. And it's something we've seen across the board. We've seen health and beauty resellers doing it. We've seen toys resellers, electronic resellers, and they're implementing some of this very similar strategies to what I mentioned. And then you have the other option, and this is around a private label seller. So Earthwise Bags, they're around a top 1,000 Amazon seller. They sell private label grocery bags, so pretty successful on Amazon. They came into Walmart completely net new, and we'll talk about in terms of gaining traction on listings, what that looked like, and kind of the strategy there. Where essentially you add everything on 2-day shipping, you add some ad spend behind it. That gives you better visibility. Better visibility gives you more sales, and then more sales you can reinvest into 2-day shipping and ads. And so then you see the outer wheel though, is as you get more sales, your listings start indexing higher across search algorithms, whether this is Walmart, whether it's Amazon or eBay, because the marketplace search algorithms are trying to figure out what do our buyers want to buy. And when your listing has more sales, they know that buyers actually are interested in that item. So they're going to surface it to more searches. And you see this spiraling effect where as you start getting more sales, it improves it improves visibility. As you get more visibility, it improves sales, and it kind of is a cyclical loop. And here you see month 1, they put everything on 2-day shipping. They do 69 orders in month 1. Completely not new to Walmart. They just started Deliverr, and that makes sense. Then month 2, they started getting some traction, and you see around 350 orders in month 2. Then you see their listings starting to index quite a bit because they had some initial traction on those listings. And then you see, we search this around Christmas time, a reusable shopping bag, and they show up 9 times on the first page, where you really see the impact of that flywheel effect. And they hit around 800 orders in month 3. So it's around a 3-month ramp time. They actually ended up hitting quite a bit more than that in month 4. So it takes a few months, but it definitely is something where, when you launch on a new marketplace, especially Walmart, you want to get a lot of sales traction, putting your top moving items on 2-day, and you also get access to the ads platform with Deliverr on Walmart, and so you can get some attraction on your listings and get things moving. In terms of getting started on Amazon, we talked about there's a few different ways you can get access to Prime through FBA, or you can go through SFP. If you have access to SFP, you can either do that self-fulfilling, or you can use that, or you can use Deliverr for your SFP orders. For Walmart and eBay, we are essentially, serves kind of like that FBA-like provider where we give you automatic approval into either fast and free guaranteed buy for eBay or Walmart free 2-day shipping. Or you can self-fulfill orders. But if you want to self-fulfill orders into those fast shipping programs, you're going to have to apply. They're going to run you through an entire trial period and all those types of things. Deliverr just kind of streamlines that. You go up and running, and you're ready to get off to the races. In terms of connecting to Deliverr to Skubana, we'll run through that real quick. I mean, essentially what you do is, connect Deliverr, into Skubana through a few steps. We're just going to ask for like your API credentials. You just fill that out. You might have to create a warehouse in Skubana. If you have questions, email us or email Skubana. We'll let you know how to do it. It should take a few minutes. We've had quite a few sellers do that already and haven't had too many issues there. Then you're going to go ahead and start sending inventory to Deliverr. It's going to be very similar to the FBA prep process where you select the SKUs and units. We're going to tell you where to send to. It'd be 3 to 4 different locations, and how much to send where. You can use our rates or your own rates, and should be very similar to the FBA prep process that you're used to.
How's your inbound pricing?
So it changes a little bit. We're experimenting with it. I would say right now it's around 40% off retail rates. Amazon's around 60%. So we know where we need to go. We're going to be working on that. We also have a new program coming out in, I would say maybe 3 to 4 weeks now, where sellers will be able to send to one location closest to them, and then we're going to forward those shipments to all the different locations. And so we're really excited about that. That's a big one, and that will drop inbound costs quite a bit because I've noticed that's a program that is for Amazon now. They're starting to charge for that per unit, and that would be something that we would launch for free. So we're really excited about that. And then on the fast shipping programs, here you can opt in. We see all different combinations. We'll be adding one new big one next month that we're really excited about. And so you can do that there. And then our cost calculator. We'll give a sneak peek. We do have a discounted new Walmart rates are coming out in the next 7 days. So look out for that. There'll be a big announcement around that. You'll also probably see an announcement in your Walmart seller account. So that'll be cool. And so we have our cost calculator where you put in an ASIN. It'll tell you what the rates are across Walmart, Amazon, anywhere you sell. And so just play around with that, put in your ASINs and see what the cost is. And so that way you have that predictability. Also, when you create a Deliverr account, you'll see that. So here's some of the resources. If you would like to do a Skubana operations audit, you can go to that bit.ly. If you want to go to our cost calculator, that's where it is, just deliverr.com. Questions, you can email info@Deliverr, or that is Chad's actual personal email, yes. Chad@Skubana. So you can email Chad directly too. So I think with that, let's open it up to questions. So we talked about a lot of different things across a lot of different channels. Yeah, so let's jump into it. There's a question here, Chad, around Amazon influencers. Who would you say who are some of the people that you look up to actually in the Amazon space for information around best tactics?
That's an interesting question. Someone I like to listen to often is like Kevin King. I think he has some great things to add. Ed Rosenberg, he's kind of like the whisperer when it comes to like getting suspended on Amazon. But for the most part, I think I typically like listen to others and I hear myself. Like I go into the data myself and verify and validate things before acting on any guru's opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense. And how do you usually understand and how do you figure out kind of the best tactics when you think about selling on Amazon? When you want
it's not just Amazon, right? Like first of all, I've always had a different perspective than most because I truly believe e-commerce is like playing Monopoly. and you want to be on every piece of the board to win. So that's one big differentiator. Like I look at Amazon as a channel, not as a business, and some sellers like to double down on Amazon, and that's definitely for me. I've just always had a big picture. I've had a big picture thinking about like I want to build a brand. So how do I look at things? I always go back to data. I'm very data driven. So if somebody says something, I typically, especially since Seller Central is so robust, I go back into Seller Central, into the analytics, into the parent ASIN reports, and I really go into sessions and conversion rate data.
Okay.
You can't do that across a lot of other channels like eBay, or I don't think Walmart really has that available for sellers, but like that's one thing I do appreciate. And certainly, obviously, I'm always going back into Google Analytics.
Do you ever run A/B testing on your listings?
So I have a lot of listings, and how we do A/B testing is we actually make incremental changes, and we are documenting and benchmarking our sessions, which is our visitors, and our conversion rate as we make tweaks and changes.
Interesting. Got it.
Now, the nice thing is that Amazon always is adding new things to create better content and to create a better narrative on your product detail page on Amazon. And we try to always be the first. I think I mentioned that earlier, like e-commerce, things expire in 6 months because either the loophole is shut down or everybody else does it. So like you need to capitalize on trends early on in this game to like really, I think, have an edge, because people are fast moving and nimble right now and agile, and everyone is using technology to one up each other.
Yeah, I think that's a good, that kind of goes back to the clustering effect, where the first seller to activate on Tuesday definitely gets the biggest impact, because they do get also the biggest impact on sales for that listing. So it has the highest weight, which once it has all that weight, it becomes really difficult to unseat them. So yeah, I've noticed that for sure. So a few questions here around, what types of products does Deliverr take? We tend to focus on a little bit like smaller standard items. We are expanding our dimensional requirements, so there will be an announcement out probably next week or the week after that. Next week we have a few big pricing announcements to release, so it might be the week after that. So we are going to be expanding our dimensional requirements. That'll be great. So we can take a little bit larger items, especially for the sellers who want to use this for SFP, where our rates would be fairly competitive for a little bit larger items. So we're going to enable a few different sellers there. And then question on customer service for Walmart and eBay, because that is really interesting. It is different from Amazon, where if you use FBA, Amazon handles the customer service for Walmart and eBay. That is something that you have to handle yourself as a merchant. Actually, Chad, you could probably speak to that better than I could. How are you managing customer service for Walmart today?
Yeah, we do it. Well, we have Basecamp where we have teams that we manage. We have frequently asked, like constant questions that are asked. We manage a team of virtual assistants that are in the Philippines that are doing all of our customer support, like intimately know our FAQs and everything about the product. But we do it all in-house, and you can use different ticketing softwares to respond. I mean, one great one I like a lot is Excelco. They're really multi-marketplace and also Gorgeous, which is very Shopify focused. So those are the two I would recommend.
Yeah, the Gorgeous actually, their office is not too far away. So I've seen their product a few times on a few demos. So it's definitely something interesting there. Questions around, does Deliverr take batteries yet? Not yet. We're hoping before Q4 we'll have that ready, because we have quite a few items, quite a few sellers today. Some of the biggest electronic sellers on Walmart that use Deliverr want to put their items with lithium-ion batteries. So we definitely hear you. We're working on it. Should be coming soon. So we'll keep you updated when we are ready to announce that. Any other questions that you think we missed?
I see two here. There's one that says, I currently have ShipStation, which I use for importing orders from many marketplaces. I'm wondering how Skubana would fit. So we actually completely replaced ShipStation, and we have a lot more functionality when it comes to what we call order bots, which are if-then statements that you can apply inventory logic around your inventory and how you ship, especially across multi-warehouse functionality, driven based on inventory and splitting inventory across those warehouses. So we are like, we're like ShipStation, but with a lot more functionality, which is the nicest way I can say it. And then Mia asked, is there an ERP that helps you bulk sync inventory to every channel? And that would be Skubana.
And how would you say, this is an interesting one, Skubana would differ from Seller Cloud in terms of
Yeah, I would say that we are in a
feature
very different.
capabilities.
Yeah, so without, I'm certainly not interested in chopping down anybody's tree, but I certainly know what we've built. Seller Cloud was around when I first started Skubana. And I tried it, and I couldn't get my arms around the user interface, the functionality. So we built a very user interface driven product that's intuitive. It doesn't crumble under performance with zero performance issues, and everybody is using the same code, so we can deploy code a lot quicker and move a lot quicker and be a lot more nimble and agile in the process. I mean, there's a lot more there, but essentially it's kind of like comparing a Ferrari to a Honda.
Okay, and then let's see. Let me look. We integrate Terrawitz. I can't speak too much around it, but I have to say the reordering features around Skubana are pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That was something that I was just blown away with when I was at their office.
And if I was talking about just like value props real quick, it would be automated purchase order functionality, which they don't have. They don't have shipping on the cloud, which we have, along with a completely open API and an app store, and then SKU profitability across every single channel with every fee. So there you have it.
And then also, I know there's always some questions around the Walmart ads tool. When do you get access to it? So when you ship your first order with Deliverr, you would get an email that week from the Walmart ads team giving you access to their ads platform. You don't need to use Deliverr to get access to the ads platform. There's a few top sellers who have gotten access to it. But if you do use Deliverr, you automatically get access if you're, maybe not one of the top 100 Walmart sellers today.
That's cool.
Yep.
So yeah, we're gonna have to talk about the crucial business offline. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, you want to use it in conjunction. The ads tool with Today. It's something that we also had a seller, Equinox Trading, that really, they were one of the first sellers on the ads platform. And also they came on Today and they really optimized their ad spend quite a bit. And also, like one of our top ashwagandha sellers, that supplement seller has been fantastic with their ad spend in terms of keyword bidding. So have a lot of interesting case studies there too.
Cool.
All right, guys. Do we think we got all the questions then? We just made it on time. All right. Thanks so much. So I think with that, we'll wrap it up. Again, questions, email info@Deliverr or email Chad directly. And so really excited. Thanks, guys, for bearing with us and walking through all of that. And then, yeah, we're really pumped for this. We're really pumped for this partnership and to see what Skubana and Deliverr sellers can do together. And yeah, thanks again, guys, for tuning in.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. All right. See ya.